Hey there, tubes and tubettes. I don't think this one needs any introduction. I'm just going to go ahead and start it.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have a story to tell you. I was walking along. And I came across a farm. And there was this horse. And the horse was shitting. The horse was shitting arguments. He was shitting out things like, because I said so, and do as I say and not as I do. You know, shit like that. That kind of shit was the shit that he was shitting. Now, then he started to shit out various theist and atheist arguments. Now, he shit out some theist arguments like, I was raised that way, shit like that. But he took a big, giant dump. Oh, man, it was fucking huge. It was like as big as a house. It was a house-sized piece of shit argument. And it was an atheist argument. And the argument was that the Bible was written with the intent to oppress a large amount of people, like the whole society, that it was written with that very intent to like make people behave and scare people about hell and shit like that.
So I think it's appropriate that it's a horse that was taking this giant shit, because horses subsist themselves on hay, and apparently this horse took a giant straw man dump. Right? He shit out a giant straw man argument. Where are these atheists? These atheists that are making this argument that the Bible was written with the express intent of oppressing and scaring people? Where are they? Did you link any in your description section? Is this a video response? Maybe to a really super irrational, misinformed atheist somewhere? No, it isn't. It's a straw man argument. I'm an atheist. I speak to lots of atheists here on YouTube, and let's talk about YouTube because that's the medium that you and I work in, right? I speak to lots of atheists here on YouTube, and I've never heard one say that. Go figure. I've never heard an atheist say that, but you have, apparently. So you're going to link him. Oh, no, you're not. You're not going to link him. You're not going to mention him by name. You're not going to make this a video response to somebody who said that. You're going to continue to argue against a straw man. You're going to set up this ridiculous argument so that you have something really irrational that you can tie to atheism to argue against. This is why I have a problem with your Disproving Atheism series. Right out the gate. You've started with a big, gigantic logical fallacy, and it just pervades the entire video.
Okay, now if the Bible was written with the intent to scare people, then it would make sense that the Bible's central figure, Jesus, would have said a lot of things about hell and a lot of things that would try to scare you into believing things about the religion that he represents, Christianity. Now, Jesus doesn't say a lot of these things. I've read a lot of the things Jesus has said. He does not talk about, holy shit, you're going to hell. No, he does not. Let's look at a sampling of some of the things Jesus has said in order to get an idea of the kinds of things that Jesus talked about. I've got this book of Jesus quotes. I'm going to read you some scary-ass Jesus quotes. Scary as hell. Happy are you who are hungry now. You shall be satisfied. Fortunate are you who weep now, for you shall laugh. That's scary as hell.
Wow. Okay, so once again, what are you doing here? See, this is why I have a problem with you, Fifth Watcher, because you really try hard to dress yourself up as an alternative Christian. I'm not like the other Christians. I'm an alternative Christian. I've got a different view of the Bible. I go about things differently. And yet, when you strip away all that layer, that facade that you try to put up, that way that you really try to present yourself here on YouTube, that persona that you try to present, when you strip away all of that, you're just a religious apologist. That's all you are. All you're doing is evangelizing. But the reason why I have such a big problem with you and not other Christians out there that are just doing it to evangelize, although I have made videos to, Christians who are just evangelizing, the reason I have a particular problem with you, the reason why I've devoted so much video to you, is because instead of just doing that, instead of coming out and being what you are, you try and dress it up. You put a straw man atheist out there and act like you're arguing against this really irrational, stupid atheism. Instead of just coming out and doing what you want to do. You want to spread the gospel, and that's fine. If you want to do that, then why don't you do it? Why don't you just spread the gospel? Present it like this, and you can even set up a mild straw man here, but you don't have to drag atheists through the mud while doing it. You don't have to set up a straw man atheist. You can just say, well, I've heard some people say that there are a lot of things in the Bible that are oppressive, and that the Bible is all about, fear-mongering. Well, I'd like to present you with some quotes that I don't find to be fearful at all. In fact, I find these to be really inspirational. And then read off some Jesus quotes like you're doing here, rather than doing it in the context that you're arguing against some fucking atheist that doesn't exist. Some atheist out there somewhere that you're not going to, name because he doesn't fucking exist. What's the problem with doing it that way? Well, the problem with doing it that way is that you have to come out and admit what you are. You're an apologist. You're an evangelical. You're evangelizing. Just do it. Just evangelize. Don't drag people through the mud. Don't hug logical fallacy. Don't set up straw man arguments. Just do what you want to do, dude.
The last will be first, and the first will be last. Whew. I really gotta stop doing this. It's like watching a scary movie. It's like hell is gonna... Jesus or hell or the devil or something's gonna come out and stab me any second, just drag my ass to hell.
Yeah, there are plenty of times where Jesus does talk about hell, and I was going to read off some Jesus quotes about hell, but I did what you asked. I went to your description section, and I looked at all your comments, and I saw that a user had already posted a bunch of the times that Jesus talks about hell. And instead of acknowledging that Jesus did talk about hell as well as salvation and really, inspirational things, he did talk about people going to hell. He did talk about what hell was. Instead of doing that, you try and you make an apologetic argument for it. Well, don't you think really Jesus was talking about hell when he said there will be a lake of fire and there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth? Do you think he was really talking about hell? Or was he talking about man's propensity to isolate himself? Come on, dude. Don't make apologetic arguments like that. Jesus did talk about hell. He did. Jesus did also say a lot of really nice, inspirational, florid things. At least he said them according to the Bible. None of us really know if he really said them or not. But he also, according to the Bible, talked about hell. So I'm not going to read off the quotes. I'll ask other people to go check out what your arguments against the times that Jesus did talk about hell are. Go hit all, view all comments and look at what the Fifth Watcher has to say about what Jesus had to say about hell.
Now, seriously, the people who wrote the Bible, they didn't know what was going to be done with it. They didn't even know it was going to be a Bible. They didn't know what the Bible was because they were just writing what they saw, like what happened, to them, their experiences. They didn't know what it was going to be done with. So no, the Bible was not written with the intent to oppress anyone. Even if some preacher douchebags talk about hell all the time and how you're going to go to it if you don't do exactly what they tell them, that's not on the Bible. The Bible didn't tell them to say that.
Yeah, but the problem is, and see, this is right here at the very end of your video, in the last minute of your video, you actually attempt to discredit the real atheist argument, the atheist argument that I've heard, which is, whatever the Bible was written for, it is used to oppress people. It is used to scare people into believing it. That's the real atheist argument, and you dismiss it at the end, with this one little 30-second quote. That's the argument that you really need to be making here. Of course, that's a hard argument to make. That's something that's really hard to argue against. You in fact, just have to you have to concede it. That there are a lot of preachers out there. In fact, that's the mainstream of Christianity. The mainstream of Christianity is based around this idea that there's a hell and you're making this choice. Are you going to choose, eternal torture and poking and prodding and burning, or are you going to choose paradise? And the reason that you ask a blessing on your enemies, like Jesus said, and the reason that you pray for those that oppress you, like Jesus said to do, is because you know where their souls are going. You know if they continue their ways, that they're going to burn, and you don't want that for anybody, because it's the most horrendous torture that you could ever think of. That's the beating heart of Christianity. That's the argument that atheists make. That's the atheist argument that I've heard. Whatever the Bible was written for, whatever its original intent was, it's used to oppress people and frighten people. So maybe what you need to do, instead of setting up a straw man atheist, maybe what you need to do is go and seek out some evangelical Christians here on YouTube that are doing that are using the Bible as a tool of fear, that are constantly talking about hell. Let me tell you about hell. There are plenty. I've seen plenty. In fact, I will link a few in my description. I'm not going to be like you. I'm not going to set up a straw man. I will link a few in my description. You can go check them out, and I'd like to see some videos from you talking to these Christians about how they need to stop using the Bible as a tool of fear and oppression, rather than setting up a bullshit straw man atheist. All right? So I'm looking forward to seeing that, Fifth Watcher, and to everybody else, peace out.